Hey, so does your man hate himself? It's a very strong term. I hate using it, but caught your attention, didn't it? And it's a very strong feeling in there. So I get it. I'm coming to you from someone, just a real guy here in the Midwest, a real estate agent now. I was a big loser for a long time. I was not there for my kids for many years. I was, stuck in the bottle. I mean, I was just a bad problem drinker, just riddled with low self-esteem, massive insecurity, and just doubt and confusion over who I was, where my place was in life, if I would ever make something of myself. There was a constant anxiety in my heart and in my head, and this hole I just couldn't fill, no matter how many women I slept with, how many bottles I drank, how much money I made, or how many crazy new businesses or ideas I came up with, or how many friends I had, or how fancy shirts I wore, and nothing ever helped. And the more I realized things didn't help, the bigger the hole grew, because I started to fret over it, and it just got worse and worse. And I call it the ninth dimension of shame. You don't like things about yourself, and then you behave in certain ways that aren't true and aren't honorable, and then you feel worse about yourself, and then you respond by behaving negatively again. So the cycle just continues, and man, you end up over years in some pretty dark places. So anyways, does your man hate himself? I remember, I'm just going to give you basically a primer on how guys maybe can end up like this, because I've had a lot of men kind of relate to what I say in my story. I remember being in third grade for the first time and literally looking around at other people and thinking, wow, I'm not like them. Something's different about me. Why can't I be a part of them? Why am I the odd man out? Sounds kind of crazy. It's sad being that young and thinking that way, but I remember that feeling specifically, man, and it never subsided until I did the work I've done, over these past several years, but it never went away. I realized, it kept going, and it actually festered and got deeper, and I behaved because that felt different than other people. I kind of almost pushed them away, and I became sort of an isolated lone wolf, class clown, but kind of a rebel, and I preferred to kind of push them away rather than feel rejected by them. It was all in my own head. I think a lot of it was that they thought it was something wrong with my speech when I was really little. And also I was ADD, back when ADD wasn't really known. This was the 80s. So I was taken to a lot of doctors, many, who would show me these weird drawings. Then they'd take my mom in the other room and consort with her very seriously, and my mother was worried, and I felt like a weird freaking kid. This was like in kindergarten. And they would take me out of class and give me medicine, Ritalin, the only medicine at the time. And I felt strange, man. I felt strange. My dad was also not around, and when he was always working or leaving for work, or he'd be gone weeks at a time for work. And he grew up in the Depression. He never said he was proud of me like I wanted him to, at least. No boo-hoo. But this stuff matters, guys. It does. Just because you can forgive your parents now, and be okay with that, it's not their fault. It still doesn't mean it wasn't shitty when it happened, okay? And it was. So I grew up feeling like a weird kid. I grew up feeling low self-esteem and insecurity and just not right with myself. Okay, that's just what I felt like. So fast forward to when I discovered alcohol. 13, 14 years old. Bam! Instant heaven. All those walls came tumbling down. And I didn't have to fight or be a class clown or show off or do these things to make myself feel better. I could just drink alcohol now. It's way easier and quicker. So actually, it's kind of weird. When I discovered alcohol, I actually behaved a little better for a while, because I would just party on the weekends and stuff and get my rocks off and not have to be such a big personality in school or show off so much. I just dove into the alcohol. And of course, women. As a 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, I was a pretty gifted athletic person, especially in wrestling, but I let that all slide because I had girlfriends and I wanted to party and drink on the weekends, and I just couldn't do it, man. That's all I wanted to do. And the self-esteem, this feeling of separateness, was growing. It was actually festering and getting deeper and bigger. And fast forward up through my early 20s, mid 20s, ended up having a child with a woman when I was in my early 20s. By that point, I just wanted to party all the time. I was drinking and partying every night, and on the surface, it looked like I was just having a good time, but I was freaking miserable. And alcohol was really wrecking my life and taking a toll on me, making myself extra filled with shame and guilt and doubt and, insecurity. I would do terrible things on alcohol. I would, fight, or there'd be violence. I'd wake up in jail. I would even stole a car. Just terrible, terrible things happen on alcohol. Arguments with the girlfriend, arrested for partying, drunk driving multiple times. It was terrible. It was all through my early 20s. And I had my daughter. And of course, I tried to do the right thing. Stayed with her for 6 months. Didn't work. And I wasn't really a good dad for several years after that. I'd say for 5 to 7 years. I preferred to go out and look for ways to fill this gnawing sense of insecurity, this hole in my heart. I was not having a good time. I was just pouring things into this big black hole within myself, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to escape myself. Don't you get it? I wasn't comfortable in my own skin, and that's, I think, the big thing with men who suffer from insecurities and self-esteem issues. I didn't like my own skin. I didn't know who I was. And a big thing with that, listen, is that alcohol came in, and alcohol stole my soul, because every time I was having a bad day or felt a little doubt from then on, every time I needed to emotionally mature, then growing into my puberty and growing into becoming an adult, I would drink alcohol instead and numb it and black out and avoid all that maturity and growth, and actually probably regress, because you just punish that emotional maturity side of yourself. Don't ever let it heal. Don't ever let it grow. Don't ever sit in your own skin and go through the things that normal people have to go through. Self-doubt, bad days, sadness, terrible occurrences. These are a normal part of life. Okay? And when you're a problem drinker or any other kind of addict, I was also, I think, addictively dating or trying to sleep with women. I would just run. Okay? That fear, acronym we use in Alcoholics Anonymous, is fuck everything and run. And that was my way of life. And a lot of alcoholics or addicts, any kind of addict, that's kind of our way of life. I think a lot of people who aren't even addicts behave that way, right? With food, with television, with anything they can think of, relationships, love. They just run because they can't face life for what it is, which is sometimes extremely difficult and sad. And so what I'm saying is, if you're a man, let me get back to the topic and title of the video. If your man hates himself, this stuff goes really deep. I'm guessing it was from when he was a child, or maybe he doesn't even know exactly when it was from. It can get real tangled up in yourself, especially when you're not facing it and you're too busy distracting yourself. In a lot of ways, men can distract themselves. Money, of course. Maybe he wants to get rich or start a business or get promoted or la 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 la. It's always something, always up to something, or scheming, right? Or doing something. With sex, of course, maybe he's on dating apps. Maybe he wants to compulsively have sex. Maybe he's always looking at the opposite sex and always trying to get eyes and always trying to look good and get likes and stuff. With alcohol, booze, it's a big one. Really accepted in our society too. Maybe he loves to just rage, go out, have a good time, and he gets off on the nightlife. He just can't help himself, right? Drugs, of course, anything that changes excessive overeating. That's, of course, a much more minor one. Okay, and we all have to live with that one eventually, but anything that he's using to change the way he feels, okay? And maybe he can't settle down with you and just love you because he needs more. Maybe he really does love you, but he can't mend this brokenness, this fucking Grand Canyon in his heart, okay? And he hates himself for that. Maybe he doesn't even say it, but he does deep down. He feels so much lack and discomfort and dis-ease within himself. This stuff's real serious, okay? So, there was a big self-esteem movement that happened, decades ago, and, let's just make kids feel great about themselves. And the thing that I think we all need to understand is that joy and sadness and depression and happiness are all part of life, exactly like each other. There's nothing bad about feeling sad. It's part of life. Our emotions go all over. We need to sit in the center of this storm. And, I think by telling people they always need to feel good and always need to be happy, how do you get happy? Get happy, get happy. Let's get happy. It puts an unfair goalpost in your mind. That's not realistic. What's realistic is being at peace with whatever's going on in your life. And, when you have bad days, knowing that a good one's going to come along down the road. When you're having a good day, being ready for that bad day that's going to come along. It's all about averages, and eventually your life will hopefully trend up. I'm mature enough to realize all these deep woo-woo things now, but when I was stuck in my self-hatred, in my depression, in this darkness, I didn't I could not see that way. I could not understand if someone told me that. So this is the sad news, is that I wish there was a way you could make him understand this. But it's really not. It's a journey of self. And he needs to find this place through enough bottoms, enough hardships, enough pain. And he needs to have the right people around. Maybe you can let him know that, you know, there's people he can ask for help if he's ever ready someday. You can say something like that, but you can't make someone have a bottom. Make someone go through the insane philosophical switch, almost religious, fanatic switch it takes to change your life when you're in so much despair, or just so much depression, or so much pain, you know, so much pain. Because he may look like he's having a great time. I bet you he does. I used to look like I was having a great time. But deep down, there'd be times when my knees would hit the floor and I would literally cry and just beg and pray for God to change me. And beg and beg and beg for him to do the work. Now I realize I was asking him to do the work for me. And, you know, what I should have been saying is, God, give me the strength to do the work that I'm going to do, because I am 100% committed to doing it. And to being the man I know who I am deep down before all this stuff happened, to being the man of my spirit, this basic goodness, this spirit, this beautiful spirit and soul that's inside of me that was unfortunately covered up with all this garbage and traumas and, you know, the real world, which is wicked. So anyhow, listen, I'm babbling now, but if your man hates himself, there's hope. I don't hate the man I am today. I don't. I love myself. And most of all, I feel loved by God. I feel accepted by God. And I don't see my father as a God figure anymore. I see him as a friend, as a, you know, as a good friend. Same with my mother, with their own faults. And I can forgive them and forgive what happened and whatever, get over it. Doesn't mean it wasn't crappy though. So if something happened in his past, in your past, you don't have to let it go. But just, I think what's helped me to realize is that my parents didn't mean to do it. But you still got to heal from it, okay? And the way your man's going to heal is not from doing the behaviors he's doing that make it obvious. Maybe while you're watching this video, maybe there's behaviors he's engaging in that make it pretty obvious he hates himself. He needs to stop those. And he needs to deal with the feelings that are inside, the shitty feelings, and get through them. And, you know, a program like Alcoholics Anonymous for me has been miraculous, because it's made me feel not alone in that journey, because it's really hard to do what I just said. So, you know, sobriety is extremely important to me, and sobriety has been the key to all of this for me, really, at the end of the day. Sobriety's taught me to sit in whatever's going on in my life and be okay with it, because there is no other way to live and be healthy, in my opinion. Okay, we can't run from our feelings, intoxicate our feelings away. Your man can't do that with booze, with sex, with women, with goals, and whatever else, all kinds of things we can put to distract ourselves. Okay, thanks so much for watching. I'm blabbing here, but have a wonderful night, and subscribe if you want to see some more stuff like this, or not. Take care.